One of the most moving speeches in the Second Seminole War was recorded by John T. Sprague in his book, The Florida War. It was also recorded in a few places, but I think it's most complete in John Sprague's copy, especially of some of the most important observations, I believe. And it's by Coacoochee. And let me get some images up. To set the stage, Coacoochee is a prisoner and he is on a ship in Tampa Bay. Right now, he's been captured. He's being forced to bring in the rest of his family or his band. Uh, and they'll actually threaten to hang him or them if they're not brought in. The officer in charge of the troops in Florida is William Jenkins Worth, and it's a pretty much of a talk between the two, giving the ultimatum to Coacoochee. A little bit about Coacoochee. He was born about 1810, early 1800s. Uh, Said that he's Miccosukee or Miccosukee speaking, one of the most flamboyant chiefs of the Second Seminole War. Um, he's described as small, looks almost petite, light-skinned, and almost a bit feminine, but a determined warrior who makes some of the most bold fights in the Second Seminole War. This is a picture, a drawing of him by John T. Sprague in his book. This is an image by Charles Coe that he has in the book The Red Patriots, which is also reprinted by the Seminole War Foundation along with Sprague's book. And it's taken from a painting made of Coacoochee. Uh, and the notes say that he kind of didn't want to stand still, so he blew a kiss to the painter as a taunt. So that's why the funny look on his face. Unfortunately, we do not have the original painting. We don't know where it went. It would be amazing if that was ever found. Now, this is a painting by James Hutchinson, who passed away not long ago, who did some beautiful paintings of the Seminoles, the chiefs and the war leaders from the Second Seminole War area. And, and of course, Colonel Worth, later General William Jenkins Worth, who was injured in the War of 1812 at Lundy's Lane. He was head of, I believe, the 8th Infantry by the Second Seminole War, 8th Infantry Regiment. He was head of Florida troops from, I think, May 1841 until the war ended, and he stayed in Florida until 1845. And he went to Mexico, and I think he died in 1849 of cholera, and he's buried in Brooklyn, New York. Actually, um, the stock exchange stopped for his funeral and procession down through Times Square in New York City. This Worth again, uh, early photograph, and that's of course, a lithograph of him, of course, from that same 1840s era. So let's begin. Let's start out. Said the colonel commanding arrived at Fort Brooke, Tampa Bay on 3rd of July and had an interview with Coacoochee and his warriors on the 4th. This July 4th, 1841, who were in irons on board the transport in the harbor. The associations of the day and the personages participating gave a high degree of interest to the arrival, independent of the successful results anticipated by many and the defeat predicted by others. Colonel Worth, his staff, and a number of officers together and with intelligent interpreters proceeded on board at 10 a.m. Coacoochee, pale, haggard, received all with marked dignity and coolness. And let me add here that Sprague, who has this in his book, was present for this talk. He's Colonel Worth's adjutant. Coacoochee and his companions, 15 hardy young men, were closely ironed, surrounded by a guard of 30 soldiers. That means they're in leg irons and chains. His present interview contrasted strongly with his first at Fort Cummings in March. Then he had a bold, dashing demeanor. Now he was calm, quiet, and subdued. Those limbs which trod the soil, now forbidden ground, but again spreading out before him with as much freedom as the aspirations of his mind were degraded by shackles, the clank of which is never effaced in the recollection of an Indian. Around him were well-tried and savage companions who followed him in his warpath and had been governed by his counsel. And I'm going to skip over a page talking about kind of general the Indian's character, spirit unyielding and broken. And Coacoochee and his warriors came up slowly to the quarterdeck of the transport, their feet irons hardly enabling them to step 4 inches and arrange themselves according to rank. As they laid their manacled hands upon their knees before them in the presence of so many whom they had so long hunted as foes. They hung their head in silence. Not a cheering voice or expression could be seen or heard among the group. The chief sat quietly, awaiting his doom. Colonel Worth arose and taking him by the hand said, Coacoochee, I take you by the hand as a warrior, a brave man. You have fought long and hard with a true and strong heart for your country. I take your hand with feelings of pride, your love, your country as we do. It is sacred to you. The ashes of your kindred are dear to you and to the Seminole. These feelings have caused much bloodshed, distress, horrid murders. It is time now the Indian felt the power and strength of the white man. Like the oak, you must bear up for many years against strong wind. The time must come when it will fall. This time has arrived. You have withstood the blasts of 5 winters and the storms of thunder, lightning, wind, 5 summers. The branches have fallen, the tree, burned at the root, is prostrated. Coacoochee, I am your friend. So is your great father at Washington. The president right now is John Tyler. What I say to you is true. My tongue is not forked like a snake. My word is for the happiness of the red man. You are a great warrior. Indians throughout the country look to you as a leader. By your counsels, they have been governed. The war has lasted 5 years. Much blood has been shed, much innocent blood. You have made your hands and the ground red with the blood of the women and children. The war must now end. You are a man to do it. You must and shall accomplish it. I sent for you that through the exertion of yourself and men, you might induce your entire band to emigrate. I wish you to state how many days it will require to effect an interview with the Indians in the woods. You can select 3 or 5 of these men to carry your talks. Name the time, it shall be granted. But I tell you, as I wish your relatives and friends told, that unless they fulfill your demands yourself, and these warriors now seated before us shall be hung in the yard of this vessel, when the sun sets on the day appointed, with the irons upon your hands and feet, I tell you this, that we may well understand each other. I do not wish to frighten you. You are too brave a man for this, but I say what I mean, and I will do it. It is for the benefit of the white and red man. This war must end, and you must end it. Silence pervade as this com at silence pervade the company as the speaker closed. The harsh grating of the handcuffs broke the spell as each warrior raised his hand to wipe away the tear which never before stole down his rugged cheeks. Coacoochee rose, evidently struggling to suppress a feeling which made his manly form quiver with excitement. I was once a boy, he said in a subdued tone. Then I saw the white man far off. I hunted in these woods, first with the bow and arrow, then with the rifle. I saw the white man and was told he was my enemy. I could not shoot him as I would a wolf or bear. Yet like these he came upon me. Horses, cattle, and fields he took me. He said he was my friend. He abused our women and children, told us to go from the land. Still, he gave me his hand in friendship. We took it. Whilst taking it, he had a snake in the other. His tongue was forked. He lied and stung us. I asked but a small piece of these lands, enough to plant and to live upon, far south, a spot where I could place the ashes of my kindred, a spot only sufficient upon which I could lay my wife and child. This was not granted to me. I was put in prison and I escaped. He's talking about his escape from St. Augustine November 1837. I have been again taken. You have brought me back. I am here. I feel the irons in my heart. I have listened to your talk. You and your officers have taken us by the hand in friendship. I thank you for bringing me back. I can now see my warriors, my women and children. The Great Spirit thanks you. The heart of the poor Indian thanks you. We know but little. We have no books which tell us all these things. But we have the Great Spirit, moon, and stars. These told me last night you would be our friend. I gave you my word. It is the word of a warrior, a chief, a brave man. It is the word of Coacoochee. It is true, I have fought like a man. So have my warriors, but the whites are too strong for us. I wish now to have my band around me and go to Arkansas. You say I must end the war. Look at these irons. Can I go to my warriors? Coacoochee chained. No, do not ask me to see them. I never wish to tread upon my land unless I am free. If I can go to them unchained, they will follow me in, but I fear they will not obey me when I talk to them in irons. They will say my heart is weak, I am afraid. Could I go free, they will surrender and emigrate. The commander, in reply, told him with firmness, without disguise, that he could not go, nor would his irons be taken off until his entire band had surrendered, but that he might select 3 or 5 of the prisoners who should be liberated and permitted to carry his talks. They should be granted 30, 40, or 50 days if necessary. I say to you again, and for the last time, that unless the band acquiesce promptly with your wishes to your last wish, the sun, as it goes down on the last day appointed for their appearance, will shine upon the bodies of each of you hanging in the wind. This injunction was given in such a manner as to impress the prisoners of the firm belief it would be literally fulfilled. So the Colonel Worth is being quite emphatic that he would hang them if they didn't return. It was manifest in convulsive expression of their stern and rugged faces. To escape was beyond all hope. The vessel lay moored in deep water 2 miles from shore. Firmly ironed and surrounded night and day by sentinels, their fate was inevitable, and as the reality rose upon them, they were sad and depressed. Here was a chief, a man whose only offense was defending his home, his fireside, the graves of kindred stipulated on the 4th of July for his freedom and life. The incident occurred when Coacoochee was most excited, which carried forcibly in the minds of all present an import of the day and impressed in a manner not to be forgiven the scene which all were participating in. A government schooner lay moored in the immediate neighborhood. At 12 noon, as is customary, she opened her batteries. Coacoochee, hearing the repeated discharge and seeing the interest manifest, ceased speaking and asked, "What is this for?" Again he inquired, but silence was the only response. The silence was their shame of the irony and the hypocrisy which everybody would feel in the next minute. The Indian instinctively seemed to think it was a jubilee for freedom. Well might the white man deny the natal day of his country. The flag waving from the masthead of Coacoochee's prison ship, symbolic of freedom, was saluted by a roar of artillery, announcing to the world liberty of 20 million people free, independent, intelligent, and happy. Coacoochee, after consulting his companions, selected five to carry his talk to the band. He gathered around him these messengers on whose fidelity he was led to believe depended his life and liberty, and in a calm tone and manner endeavored to impress upon them his situations and those they were to leave behind. The half-articulated words and subdued indentations of his voice differed widely from the violent manner and vehement utterance distinguishing him upon all occasions. It was evidence his word to these messengers were no idle talk, nor was he speaking from the approbation of his listeners. He was pleading for his life from those of his own color who now hold his destiny in his hand. And he speaks again. He says, Has not Coacoochee, he said, sat with you by the council fire at midnight when the wolf and the white man were around us? Have I not led the war dance and sung the song of the Seminole? Did not the spirits of your mothers and your wives, our children, stand around us? Has not my scalping knife been red with blood, and the scalps of our enemy been drying in our camps? Have I not made the warpath red with blood, and has not the Seminole always found a home in my camp? Then will the warriors of Coacoochee desert him? No. If your hearts are bad, let me see them now. Take them in your hands and let me know they are dark and bad with blood. But do not, like a dog, bite me so soon as you turn your backs. If Coacoochee is to die, he can die like a man. It is not my heart that shakes. No, it never trembles, but I feel for those now in the woods, pursued night and day by the soldiers, for those who fought with us until we were weak. The sun shines bright today, the day is clear. So let your hearts beat. The Great Spirit will guide you. At night, when you camp, take your pipes and tobacco. Build a fire when the moon is up and bright. Dance around it, then let the fire go out. And just before the break of day, when the deer sleeps and the moon whispers to the dead, you will hear the voices of those who have gone to the Great Spirit. They will give you strong hearts and heads to carry the talk of Coacoochee. Say to my band that my feet are chained. I cannot walk, yet I send them my word as true from my heart as if I was on the warpath or the deer hunt. I am not a boy. Coacoochee cannot die, not with a shivering hand, but as when grasping the rifle with my warriors around me. My feet are chained, but the head and heart of Coacoochee reaches you. The great white chief, Pokager, I'm not sure what that word is, uh, will be kind to us. If there's a Muskogee or Miccosukee speaker, Pokarger, I'd like a translation, please. He says, When my band comes in, I shall again walk my land free with my band around me. He has given you 40 days to do this business, and if you want more, say so. I will ask for more. If not, be true to my time. Take these sticks here, 39, one for each day. This much larger than the rest, with blood on it, is the 40th. When the others are thrown away and this only remains, say to my people that with the setting of the sun, Coacoochee hangs like a dog with none but white men to hear his last words. Come then, come by the stars as I have led you to battle. Come, for the voice of Coacoochee speaks to you. Say this to my wife and child. Hear the chieftain who had struggled during these remarks with feeling almost overpowering, paused and turned away his head to hide his tears, flowing profusely down his melancholy but youthful and manly countenance. Deep silence pervaded the entire company. The experienced soldiers to whom carnage had been familiar, the hardy sailor acquired with privation and danger, the savage whose stoic heart is seldom worn by feeling now stood around, giving evidence of the sympathy in these injunctions of the captive by a participation in the gloom of silence which none was so bold to break. Without confusion, without utterance of a word, the irons were taken off the five messengers when preparations were made for them to proceed to shore. Coacoochee shook each by the hand as they passed over the other side of the vessel. To the last, he gave a silk handkerchief and a breastpin. Give these, he said, to my wife and child. And I'll in that there. That was an extremely moving talk by Wildcat or Coacoochee, one of the most spirited warriors of the Seminole and Miccosukes in the Second Seminole War, who is both claimed by both tribes, in fact. And why not? He's one of the bravest people and gave some of the most moving speeches from the Second Seminole War. So think upon it that in July 4th, as our nation was celebrating its independence, that he stood in chains seeing these white men celebrating their independence. It's crazy how history sometimes repeats itself and not in a good way. It reminds me of some of the political situations that are going on today uh, that, just bring to heart the talk of Coacoochee, what he said that day. Not the most uplifting program, but I hope it was meaningful to you. Thank you.